I want to thank the Executive Director for including me, and I appreciate the partnerships that we've had with the committee, and thank Jim for the great leadership representing the interest of the state. So thanks so much. Look, Americans don't agree with much these days, but people truly, Republican, Democrat, young, old, care about the nation's roads, the nation's bridges, our highway system. It's vital as a unifying force in our nation. It's an essential part of everyday life. It seems that the highways are pulsating with activity just about every minute of the day. What we see certainly around Washington is the rush hour in the morning, and the evening extends longer and longer. But we have a system that connects communities, it moves people, it moves products all around the country, and we need to continue to improve it. I think it's critical for every state, every city, every town. It is our way to get to work, to get to school, to get home again. It's the gateway for weekend activities, for family trips, summer vacations. I'd welcome all of you to Yellowstone, to Wyoming, to enjoy the beauty this summer. We have a reliable road system that will lead you there. And we need a reliable road system all across the country. It is a must for a healthy, growing economy. Our roads, highways, and bridges and tunnels are the growth engine for America. The highways connect local products from the small towns in Wyoming and other places with major markets in the big cities. Vital arteries of commerce keep our country humming along, running smoothly, but they need to continue to be in a state of repair that they can run smoothly. Interstates like I-80, when we've been closed a couple of times due to snowstorms this past month, I-80, my home state of Wyoming, they move American-made products from coast to coast. Deb Fisher from Nebraska and I joke because she chaired the Transportation Committee when she was in the Nebraska legislature. So we said we had all of I-80 covered from the Utah border all the way to the eastern end of Nebraska. So we work a lot on these issues, and we know how much it matters at home. It's amazing how much freight is being transported. In 2015, the nation's highways handled about 49 million tons of freight every day, about $53 billion a day, daily shipments. Those numbers are only going to go up. To keep the freight moving, the highways need to keep pace. Our roads and our bridges are the linchpin of our strong, healthy, and growing economy, and we need to take care of them because decades of stress and wear and tear have taken a significant toll on our highways. The major roads that most Americans depend on are also the most overcrowded and the most overloaded. According to the United States Department of Transportation, congestion in urban areas costs commuters about $179 billion in wasted fuel and wasted time in 2017. That year, the average auto commuter spent 54 hours in congestion at a cost of over $1,000 in wasted time and fuel. And we're talking about the cities for that, but the rural areas need help as well. The vast majority of the 47,000 bridges that are rated in poor condition are in rural areas. And every day, millions of drivers need to cross over them. There's a question, obviously, for safety and security. It's unacceptable. Rural roads that cross federal and tribal lands in the West have a serious maintenance backlog. These roads are necessary to bring agriculture goods and natural resources from the heartland to the coasts and then to be sent overseas. So together we can repair America's roads and bridges. Americans need a safe, efficient, reliable transportation system. So the time has come for Congress to pass bipartisan highway legislation. And as chairman of the committee, I am committed to seeing this done. In July of last year, Ranking Member Tom Carper of Delaware and I introduced historic legislation to invest in our roads and our bridges. It's called the America's Transportation Infrastructure Act. The committee swiftly and unanimously approved this bipartisan legislation, and the vote was 21-0. You didn't hear about it because when actually there is evidence of people working together on both sides of the aisle, the press never seems to report it. The bill is the right medicine for the roads. It's going to cut red tape to speed construction. It will make the roads more resilient and safer. It'll promote economic growth and jobs. We make sure that urban and rural communities both benefit. The bill sends about 90% of the money to states using the proven formula funding process. It's something we found to be successful, and in hearings, when we heard back from the states, we want to make sure that that number is always over 90%, and it is. For these investments to work, it's critical that we speed up project approvals. Too often, Washington moves at a very slow pace. The committee heard testimony about one Wyoming highway project, and you're very familiar with it, Bill, that took 10 years to get the permits. 10 years to get the permits, only months to build. You know, a project should not take 10 years to permit and then less than a year to build. It's unacceptable, and it has to stop. The legislation will simplify the ways that agencies review things. We codify key elements of the Trump administration's one federal decision. You know, that's the approach to streamline environmental reviews so that we basically have a shot clock, a 2-year shot clock, and we also target wasteful agency overlap. You know, you shouldn't have to go one permit and another doing it consecutively. You ought to be able to do it concurrently at the same time. So, faster approvals will mean projects can start on time. Reducing the time it takes to get permits means we get projects done faster, better, cheaper, and smarter. So this American Transportation Infrastructure Act also prioritizes safety. To help reduce traffic fatalities and serious injuries on our roads, we increase funding for highway safety improvement programs. Another top safety priority is restoring the nation's bridges. And I mentioned bridges earlier. Our legislation creates a dedicated grant program to help states speed up bridge repairs. We also support efforts to prevent pedestrian deaths and deaths from vehicle-wildlife collisions, which happen regularly, and not just in Wyoming. You know, when you hear in Maryland and in Delaware, things of that happening all across the country. Ultimately, building strong, long-lasting highways and bridges is the best way to keep drivers, passengers, and pedestrians all safe. The system of roads is affected by climate. There is no doubt about it. So for the first time in the highway bill, the American Transportation Infrastructure Act includes a climate change title. The Act dedicates funding to improved road durability and resiliency. The roads and bridges must be resilient enough to handle extreme weather events like hurricanes and floods. In addition, the highways need to withstand natural disasters like wildfires, earthquakes, and rock slides. Our bill doesn't just address climate change through better roads, it also helps reduce emissions. And I believe we can address climate change by supporting innovation, not by government regulation. The bill provides resources to help states reduce carbon dioxide emissions. These funds can help ease traffic congestion as well as reduce transportation-related emissions. Look, we need a multi-year highway infrastructure bill. Month-to-month extensions make it harder for states and communities to plan upcoming projects. In the past, funding uncertainties for such short-term extensions led to project delays, to cancellations, also led to higher costs. These delays erode the public's trust. They hurt the economy, and they affect road safety and efficiency. Before the FAST Act passed in 2015, short-term extension caused states to delay and to consider canceling over $1 billion worth of improvements around the country. So I'm pushing for the Senate to take up highway infrastructure legislation on the floor, and your participation and your partnership with us is vital. So I'm asking for your continued support as we may move forward in this bipartisan process. We have a unique opportunity to get this done. Democrats and Republicans are working together on this. President Trump called on Congress to pass this specific bill during his State of the Union speech. So I'd say let's send this important bill to his desk. He is ready to sign it. All Americans deserve a first-class transportation system. It's time to transform our roads, rebuild America, and pass this Americans Transportation Infrastructure Act. So I just want to thank you for all that you do, for the important work that you do every day all around the country, and thanks so very much for allowing me to visit with you this morning. Thank you.